7 to 8 in section A. And in section B, the score is pretty much low. 5, 6, those have done correctly. They have got a good marks also. Okay. So last class before the presentation. Okay, anyone else in this has remaining with the evaluation of the video from section C?
Yes, ma'am. Many are there.
Yes, ma'am. 3 or 4 groups are remaining.
How many
3 or
groups?
4 groups. 3 or 4,
4 groups. Okay. So I'm planning to cover it up during evening hours. Okay. So just let me know when it will be feasible for you, because now we have to rush in terms of completion of the major portions which are yet remaining.
Ma'am, one thing we also can do, we have got only one class tomorrow. We have got only one class, and after that at 4 we have got a placement wala class.
Tomorrow, at what time?
So we have, ma'am, we have got the class at 11:15. We are free at 9:30 and also at 2:30, ma'am.
9:30 and 2:30, no? Okay, yes, so 2:30 we can do. 2:30.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Tomorrow 2:30. As such, tomorrow your 11:15 class will be taken up by Dean sir.
Ma'am, tomorrow we have got a cost accounting class in 11:15.
Your another class for section C is on Thursday.
Ma'am, it's over. Ma'am, yesterday
only
Dean
yesterday Dean sir took the class.
Okay, fine. So I think with the rest of the section, yeah. So you're done with Dean sir class yesterday. That means
yes, sir.
Your economic growth versus development sir might have taken up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the various factors affecting growth and development? But before that, what is the difference between growth and development? Both of them are used interchangeably, but is it the same? What is the difference between growth and development? You had the class yesterday, very fresh. What is the meaning of growth and development? It is not growth or development, because growth and development, these are two different. Maybe very often you might have heard it used interchangeably, but they do not mean the same. So this is what is essentially, again, a very, very confusion which emerges in the minds of the students. Till now,
Growth implies the economic growth in India and in India or in a country, and in development development, it is the development of human.
Development of
human.
Why country cannot develop?
If there will be no unfreedom, then if a human or a citizen of a country develop, then it will lead to development of the country.
Means improvement in the living standards of people living in the country.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, it is Shri Parida.
Yes, ma'am. Growth means we can refer as like monetary value or quantitative measure, we can say. But in development part, we can say that which can overall reflect the health or the literacy rate or the academic level of the population of a nation that improves. The qualitative improvement in life of the citizen of a country.
Exactly. So when you say growth, everybody, either it is that human level or it is country level. After you grow, then only you develop, isn't it? Suppose as a human being, you grow in terms of with your aging, after a limited stage in terms of your biological senses. But after that, what develops? Your brain develops, your skills develop. You do not grow in your something which develops is your level of activity, your intellect, your capabilities. So that is what is development which happens for a human being, right? So a person growing but not having any of these skills, your reasoning aptitude does not work. Your potential skills does not work. Your intellectual level does not work. That means you have only grown, but development has not taken up. Similarly, for a country also, there are various parameters of growth and which are measured in quantitative terms. Yes, rightly stated by Tishri, your growth is purely quantitative. GDP of a country grows, national income increases, the foreign revenue increases, trade increases. So all these factors are your element of growth. So many a time you see that even if all these elements have a tendency to grow, you say that the economy has grown, but that doesn't mean that the economy has developed. So when you will say it is developed, when the economy has, along with growth, because after you grow only then development process starts. Development cannot start without growth. So this growth will be accompanied by development only when there is a qualitative change. So very often I speak during my sessions about the qualitative factors, right? Having good health, having higher expectancy, having a welfare-oriented economy, having the human value, improving standard of living, reducing income inequality. All these things are qualitative aspects. So when it happens, then that means that that particular economy has adhered to not only growth, but also development, right? So that is what is essentially the difference between growth and development. Growth is only quantitative, but development is quantitative along with qualitative. So your development is much comprehensive term than that of growth. You will see that all advanced economies, they have surely looked into the aspects of not only growth, but also development. That is why very often you term that India is a developing country, right? And other countries are developed countries. So there are different aspects of treating it to be developing and to be developed, right? So maybe that you have been using growth and development in a very, means what, interchangeably you might be using that, but this is what is the technical difference between growth and development. Okay. So next, moving on to our 4-sector approach. Already in 3-sector approach, we had calculated about how the dominance of the third player, which is the government, with its role of taxation powers, with its role of transfer payments, with its role of expenses, which is carrying out, incorporating the C plus I plus G model. But this 4-sector opens up when, as far as the determination of income is concerned, now you are no more restricting yourself to a closed economy. So till the 3-sector model, the economy was operating within a close-knitted environment. The businesses were happening within the domestic territory of the country. There was no exposition outside. When did it happen? Yes, anyone? When did we open up?
Import,
91.
export.
Yes, after your LPG movement, after your new economic policy of 1990s. So since 1990s onwards, we have opened up, and this opening up economy has leveraged the amount of trade factor, and we have now been operational till 1990, till date. We are operating in an open-end economy or an open economy. So now, when the economy was working within a close-knitted circumstances, till now we have studied what was the impact on income, right? So this income is a dependent variable, and these are all independent variable, right? Now, when I'm adding one more component, the fourth component, now this fourth component will also have a determination on income. Yes, and through that, what we are trying to measure? We are trying to measure the foreign trade multiplier impact, FTM, which is the foreign trade multiplier impact. Now, as a result of the inclusion what impact does it have on determining your Y? That is determining the level of income. So that is the essential objective of this particular section of our study. So when we are operating in an open economy, then while the economy opens up, as you know that the reason of opening up is to conduct trade. And why do a country trade? What is the essentiality of trade? Here, the fourth sector is treated as an exogenous function. If you remember, in our initial part of discussion, we had studied something as endogenous and exogenous factor. So since now in this model, within a four sector dimension, the external sector, which is export, is treated as an extra aggregate into this model. So that is why we are treating it as an exogenous function. Because this is something, due to that force, you will see that the economy's income will have a significant change. Now the question comes, why do countries trade? Why do countries trade? Here I have taken only the function of exports. So with exports, what is the reason of trading? Essentially, what is the reason of country trading? Why do we engage ourselves into trading activities? What is the basic reason?
To increase the revenue of the country.
Yes, that is the primary reason. All the countries are not endowed with all the resources, isn't it? So that is why we have to depend. We are depending upon the Quwait nations or the OPEC nations for our demand for crude oil. Now that since you have seen Ukraine, Russia, 27th day of war today, still nobody is going to give up. There has been a lot of, again, help coming to Ukraine in the form of weapons through China, through other nations, European nations. And people are right now testing their weapons, do you know? Because when you are testing the weapons having its efficacy, particularly this Javelin one, and those drones, which is being produced by, who is right now the current drone which is being sold, what is the country who is dealing with that? Direct hit, that Javelin, particularly of US, that has become a big hit in terms of defense weapons are concerned. So US has already made a trial of its weapon in the market. Now on this basis, don't you think that US will sell these weapons to India? It can claim that, see, my weapon power is so much with one Javelin. I hope you understand what is a Javelin one. Javelin throw. That is the most popular weapon which has been direct hit, and it has created a lot of fatalities at a single health hit. So in that sense, this war also has created a market opportunities for countries. People are also not going behind in order to sell their products by claiming that, see the power of our weapon. Because when you see the power of the weapon, countries will have a tendency to buy or not. Because already you have proven that this is how powerful my weapon is. And every countries, they need their defense equipments. Now, through this, don't you think that US will be successful in selling the weapons to the other countries? Yes or no?
Yes.
That will increase their export. That is how the amount of channelization of weapons will happen from one country to another country. So that is the reason why countries trade. Maybe due to your muscle power, maybe due to your manpower, your money power, or resources. So resources defines everything. Resources defines not only your natural resources, it defines your money, it defines our manpower, it defines your muscle power. Everything is resources. So the reason of trading is, since every country are not well equipped with resources, they have to depend upon other country. So that is what is a kind of mutual dependence upon each other. And that is why trade happens. And trade is completely a mutual exchange of benefits. You give, I take, you give. This is which is reciprocating between two countries. And this has quid pro quo. So therefore, what will be the benefit of such exchanges? Particularly when you talk about export, if I'm adding the export component over here and I expand my model, this will be the formula which can be used directly in order to compute export multiplier. Okay, only export multiplier. If I want to compute what is export multiplier, that means what is the impact of export on income? Because aggregate demand is our income side, as we have already explained earlier. So with the addition of the fourth component, which is export, what impact does it have on income? So that will be the export multiplier, isn't it? So export multiplier formula, again also you can write it out as delta X by delta Y. Just have a link with other formulas. This is just an expansion. Investment multiplier, we had delta I by delta Y. Right? Government expenditure multiplier, we had delta G by delta Y. Export multiplier, we are having delta X by delta Y, because the effect is on income due to change in what? Change in export. Simple. So based upon our reasoning, we have taken up the formula. This is the hint. If you can remember the alliance with your previous sections, the formula will be easier for you to work on. Otherwise, it will create confusion. So directly, either this formula you can use or the derived formula you can use. This one is the derived formula, 1 by 1 minus b. So this formula can be used also to find out export multiplier. So what does export multiplier mean? That means when a country's level of export increases, export has a significant impact on income? Yes or no? So when export increases, does it increase the export or not? If yes, to what times? So our answer will be provided by calculating this. Once we get our data, we can have the delta X value, we can have the delta Y value, and we can compute that to what times is the export multiplier. 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. So based upon that, we'll give our interpretation. Are you getting it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, export multiplier, is it understood? So when you are studying, as I stated right now, the very particular case of US, which is dealing with selling of its market, getting a market through selling of javelins and drones, which has already been supplied. So through this, isn't it US is trying to increase upon its multiplier impacts through exports? Yes or no?
Yes.
So if US multiplier impact will be high, don't you think its income generation will be high? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is how you can make a reasoning. The essentiality of this concept is not only to make the calculations or to make you through the concept, but how you can use this concept in various aspects of realities. That is why the first objective, which I made it very clear, was in this particular section, what we are trying to study. We are trying to study that what will be the impact of the addition of the fourth element on income. That is what essentially we are trying to study. And based upon this background, you can take out any economy. We can take up any economy in order to fit our concept to that. Now come to imports. So when we said that we have opening up into an external sector not only accompanies the level of exports, but also takes up the categories of imports. Now, as you all know, imports are generally associated with being a leakage. Higher is your imports, it will have a negative impact on income determination. When you saw that the level of world price, particularly for crude oil, when the barrel price has increased from a share of 110 to right now touched more than $150 per barrels. So is it not, or has it not increased our import bills? Certainly it has.
Yes, ma'am.
So earlier, same barrel I used to purchase at $110. Now same quantity, I have to pay $40 more. So if I'm going to pay $40 more for the same quantity, is it not my import bills is increasing?
Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this will act as a leakage from the flow of income, right? Now for that reason, here we are going to measure imports with the help of a import function. So what is this import function? Import function M is generally the notational form of imports, right? Now here, anyone, do you find this equation to be familiar with any one of the equation which we studied earlier? Again, you get a bonus score. If you tell me that this equation which you see, you can familiarize with any of the concept or equation which you have studied earlier.
Ma'am, it is same
Demand
as the
function.
consumption equation, that is equals to A plus
Very
by-
good, Aliva. Very good. You get a score. कौन वो भाई? किसका आंसर था? Bhaskar, you said demand function. This is not demand
Yes, ma'am.
function.
Yes, ma'am. वो गलत बोल रहा था मैम.
गलत बोलने के लिए नेगेटिव मार्क करें? Just
एकदम
joking.
मैम.
So here you can see that this equation is pretty much similar to our consumption function, na? So this is again the trick behind economics. तुम लोग एक चीज ध्यान से देख लेना, next things are all related. That will automatically fall into place. Meaning does not change, right? So here I've just replaced the consumption function with the import function. Meaning is the same. So M stands for import, MA stands for autonomous imports, and this is MPI, which is our slope of imports. Now, every country, whosoever is, either they are developed or they are developing or underdeveloped, do they require a certain amount of imports or not? You will say that European nation, Japanese, US, UK are advanced countries. They don't need anything. Is it correct? Is it a correct statement? No. Why is it no? Why is it no? Okay, we are in globalization, but does that mean that US, UK does not need anything from other countries? They rely upon other countries for cheaper access of intermediate goods. As you saw Apple, you saw Tesla. So they are also depending upon, no?
And
They are
for
also
cheaper labor,
importing whatever
too.
resources. Either it is cheaper labor or it is for the imports of IT services. India is one of those highest, I think US imports the highest degree of IT services from India. Tumhara jo service sector 56% of contribution you are seeing, no GDP. Huh? So how is it coming out? Only 26% is the composition of workforce in service sector. But the contribution to GDP is more than 50%. How is it possible? It is possible only due to this imports, which is done by other countries, particularly of IT services. You look into garments, textiles, jewelries, crude oil, spices, herbal products, whatnot. So they require all those things, product, as well as services. So that is how trade is a mutual exchange of benefits. So it doesn't mean that developed countries will not require anything. They do also require, right? So therefore, based upon the requirements, every country requires what? A autonomous import, right? Which is constant. This much they require. But as you know that with the increase in the level of their income, the economies, the level of imports will also increase. So a small m is nothing but it is the slope of our import function, which is delta m by delta y. C में क्या था? C में था delta C by delta y. Here we have just put it as delta m because change in imports due to change in income. Meaning is the same or not? Only if the formula has changed depending upon the variable. But meaning is the same. So this way you can relate to make your calculation much more easier. Fine? So this is our import function. So now we will take export and import together, and therefore you have this fourth component, which is x minus m. So what does this x minus m measures? This is nothing but this measures our trade balance. So what is this trade balance? Every country's, is it possible to equate export with import? Equality between export and import is a trade balance. But when exports is greater than import or import is greater than export, it results in a deficit or a surplus. So now the deficit or the surplus will have an impact on Y. So that is what we are trying to study. Okay. So this is what a flow of a research paper is also. If you want to study with your data that how the impact of trade it has on income determination. Very small thing. But if you are trying to bring out something by using this, no, your paper will be ready to publish. Itishri Parida, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So this is what is the structure of a paper is. Okay. I know you
Yes.
have an inclination for research, and so do many of those who have. This is what I was also expecting in your projects. If you can work out on few of these elements and come up with a paper, then your paper is ready for publishing.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll work on it. Yes, ma'am.
So
Sure.
this is how the national income in case of fourth sector model can be determined. And this is the direct formula. I am not going into derivation. So what is the impact of trade on income? So the formula is a minus bt plus y plus g plus x minus ma by, this is whole divided by, okay, this y is whole divided by 1 by b plus m. So this is the direct formula. If you want to find out y by taking up all the 4 elements, you can directly use this formula in order to find out the income. Okay. So with this background, are we ready to do some numericals as we did beforehand by taking up the 4 sector? So if you want to compute the foreign trade multiplier, so that can also be computed by this way. Okay. So foreign trade multipliers, I'm sorry, this is delta x by delta y. This is delta x by delta y because the change is due to change in y is equal to 1 by 1 minus b plus small m. So this is the direct formula of computing foreign trade multiplier. So why do we compute foreign trade multiplier? Anyone? Shreya? Why?
Ma'am,
What
to
this
get the data that what is the impact on the income by doing foreign trade?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, Shreya?
Ma'am, the impact of the level of country's import, if there is increase in import, how it is impacting the change in income.
Is it only import?
Import
Yes,
and
import and export. Yes. So earlier in case of export multiplier, I have taken only export. But here I am talking about FTM, foreign trade. So when you are talking about foreign trade, it is both export as well as import. Okay. So this is what is the impact of trade, including both export as well as import on income. So what is the multiplier impact? So whatever result we will get, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever answer we have, we will just give our interpretation on the basis of our results which we get. Clear? So now we can straight go ahead with the calculation. So you have been given, so whatever background setting to the case, I hope all of you by this time understood. Any kind of background related to any economy can be given. So the background of the economy I have just narrated. It can be the current position of Russia-Ukraine war. It can be the current position of India. It can be current position of any country. It can be current position of Sri Lanka. What is the situation going on in Sri Lanka right now? Anyone?
And there
What
is a deep
problem?
crisis, ma'am. Ma'am,
What
consumption
is
has
that?
come down very much.
High debt.
So,
Ma'am, basically they are facing economic crisis because Sri Lanka is based on the tourism sector. So, like due to the COVID-19, the tourism has been falling down, and they are mostly relying on the tourism. And second thing, they have taken a lot of loan from China for that Gale port, which they have not been given. So it's become a debt trap from them. So that's why they are facing a like very economic crisis and a shortage of paper and electricity and fuel. Not able to import things from other countries.
exactly, very well stated. So, Pratyush, this is what, again, the situation which is going on and which has led Sri Lanka to be a position of debt trap. Why debt trap? If you remember in also a few sections we are discussing that current year ka debt, already you have certain debt of this financial year. ऊपर से previous year का accumulating debt you have. So debt के ऊपर debt. Again you take loan to clear your current debt. Can you imagine? So that means
Yes,
the
ma'am,
economy
Pakistan
gets
doing the
into
same thing.
yes, so that is how the economy gets into a debt trap. And now the currency has depreciated like anything. Sri Lankan rupee, you need how much INR? Right now it is 4. By sparing, the value of INR has appreciated in comparison to Sri Lankan rupee. So if you want to purchase 1 INR, you have to spend 4 Sri Lankan rupee. Earlier it was hardly 2 before this crisis. So don't you think that it is a reason for depreciation of currency, exchange rate? ये चीज हम लोग exchange rate में पढ़ेंगे, another interesting chapter. So what are the reasons for appreciation and depreciation of currency? So in the case of Sri Lanka versus India, when one currency, 1 INR, forget about USD, I'm not comparing with the 1 INR is equivalent to 4. So as a result of it, what does that mean? 1:4, what does that mean? The exchange rate of 1:4. What does that mean? To buy 1 rupees, you have to spend how much? 4 Sri Lanka.
Oh, Sri Lankan
So which
currency.
currency is appreciated? Which currency is depreciated?
Indian rupees is
Indian currency.
India is appreciated, Sri Lankan is depreciated. Similarly, earlier $1 was say 70 rupees. Now same $1 is touching 75 INR. So which currency appreciated, which currency depreciated?
US currency.
US.
Dollar
Appreciated,
Dollar.
INR depreciated.
Dollar has appreciated, INR has depreciated. Because the same $1 you are purchasing earlier by giving 70 rupees. But now you have to pay 5 rupees more to purchase the same $1. That means the value of INR has gone down. So what are the reasons for this? There are many reasons, right? So that will explain in detail in exchange rate module. So like that, you will be given with certain background of any economy. So therefore, time and again, I'm telling you, be apprised with the current happenings right now, because your end term paper, and again, I'm making it a very open declaration, bearing upon your invigilators, whosoever is, you can go for open book paper, but the question paper will be such that even if open book you are given, I'm not sure you will be able to answer, but you have been fundamentally clear in the class, your paper will, without preparation, you can go to ME2 paper. Without preparation, you need not need any preparation for ME2. If anyone would have been attentive throughout the sessions, it is good enough. Yes, Bhaskar. See, again, there is a reason, Vijay. When you import crude oil, you pay in dollars, or you pay in other price, which is called as your LIBOR rate. We'll come about that. What is LIBOR rate? So those who are going with finance in the next semester with IFM, I will be teaching IFM in the next semester. So again, there is further exploration to how does it international trading, LIBOR rate, GIBR rate. So what is their functioning in the market, and what is the value of those rates apparently from that of US dollar and UK pounds. So that condition, when you say that when you're selling in terms of US dollar, that means I have to buy dollar, na? I cannot pay in terms of INR. I'm paying in terms of dollar. So that means equivalent amount of dollar I will buy. How I will buy dollar? By giving my Indian rupee. So now when the import prices increases, I have to give more Indian rupees to buy dollar. So is it not that my currency value depreciates further? Yes or no? So that is what is the condition is. Similarly happens with terms of exports. Now suppose US is exporting from India and $1 is say 75 INR. So when you export, right? When India export to say US. So now US will be what? Purchasing. So we will be getting dollars. So when we'll be getting dollars, we'll get at what rate? 75 rate, na? So हमारा exchange बढ़ेगा. That means this will, more exports will create an appreciation impact on rupees. So that is what the fundamental kind of situation is, that what are the causes, what are the drivers of appreciation and depreciation. This is a very interesting thing to have a close knitted watch over the market. And I will take you through the real-time data side in terms of the exchange rate, how to compute that. So this is a very interesting and important chapter which is remaining for discussion. Bhaskar, is it clear for the time being now? Yes, number will increase, no? It's you are paying in rupees, means in case of imports, and you have to be careful that what is the rate at which you are paying. When you are paying, so therefore we'll study about it in the exchange rate chapter, that therefore economies go for spot rate and forward rate. So what is this rate? Sometimes they freeze the contract at spot rate. Sometimes they freeze the contract at forward rate. So again, there is a lot of decision making as far as this. So we'll come to that. Just have a bit of patience while we move on to the exchange rate chapter. So that is what is the background. I hope you are aware about the background now. So when I say that an economy is characterized, so this economy will be supported with the background as a form of a case, right? So with that background, certain equations are given. Now you know the process of calculation. With this data, can you not calculate? So
Yes,
first,
ma'am.
what we'll do? First, you will calculate with a closed economy in order to get delta y. So y is equal to C plus I plus G. You will get a value. Then y dash, which is the open economy, you will calculate by C plus I plus G plus. This bracket is very important. Be careful about this bracket. Otherwise, many answers have a tendency to be wrong with this, because this small bracket will make commit all mistakes. So you will get y dash value. So difference between these two will give you what? Delta y, right? Because this is without export, without trade, and this equation is with trade. So you will get delta y. Now in this question, you have been given with export value 20. X stands for export. All of you, those who are, please hear it properly. The notation of X stands for export, M stands for import, and 10 plus 0.05y. I hope you have understood this equation. What does that mean? 10 is the autonomous import. 0.05 is what?
Small m.
The small m, which is your
Slope.
slope. That means 0.5 means what? That means 5% is the change in imports due to change in income. We are giving a meaning to it as a consumption function. May we give the meaning to the B value? No. Similarly, here also, you are giving a meaning to what does this mean? 0.05 means that only 5% of our imports has increased due to change in income. That is what is the meaning of slope is. Now with this data, can you not calculate what is the equilibrium income? Y. So AY or AY? Dono Y nikal aayega. Then what is trade balance? How to compute trade balance?
X minus m.
Very good. X minus M. So you can get your value. Once you get your Y value, you can get this value, na? So X minus M, you will get this value. Then what is the value of foreign trade multiplier? So either the direct formula, you can find FTM is equal to, yes. Oh, great. Already answered. Formula kya hai?
1 by 1 minus
1
b
by 1
B
minus
plus M.
b.
plus m.
So directly you can find out foreign trade multiply. So Bhaskar, 6.66 का मतलब क्या है? If your answer is 6, what does that mean? Again, very important thing is that now your economy background, that means what is your economy like? You have to give your interpretation. खाली answer जितना आ जाएगा उतना काफी नहीं है. Now we started about the background of the economy, no? So we have to align our results with that economy. Now, what should your concluding remarks will be? If your result is 6.66, what is your concluding remark about your economy? That means what kind of economy you have, or the study which you did in terms of the result, what kind of economy can you claim? 6.66 is the multiplier impact, right?
It means, ma'am, our economy is growing with the foreign trade.
Yes, it's growing at the foreign trade by 6 times or by 6 point. So that is what. Kiska economy agar result suppose isme to 6 answer will not change. Sabka same answer aayega. Suppose you have a different data and your economic value is coming out to be minus 2.5. Suppose. So what will be your interpretation? That the economy is having a negative impact. Might be the import values would have been greater than that of export value. Negative impact of trade. So based upon your result only, you have to coin your analysis. Everybody please calculate this A, B, C answer.
Ma'am,
Shraddha.
in the B question, x minus m, for this m y value, we will put y dash value or y value?
यहाँ पे after
0.5.
computing y value, then you will put this new, because imports imports comprises of the new, that is open economy, no? So this why you have to put this value.
Okay, ma'am. Then
So first-
minus 20.
The first step is calculate y and calculate y dash. This is the first step. What is your answer of y and what is the
Ma'am,
answer?
in the trade balance, you said that trade balance occurs when x equals to m. So, ma'am, I found the m value, then I equated it with x. So, will that be correct?
You will get the m value, but it will not be correct. Trade balance is when this is equal to this. By equating this, suppose 20 is equal to 10 plus 0.5 y, right? Or it will be 10 is equal to 0.05 y, right? Or y is equal to 10 by 0.05. So you'll get the value, na? Ultimately, you're getting the value. So again, once you get your value, you replace over here. You'll get the value of m. That is also a process which can be done.
Ma'am,
जैसे
y
भी
is
करो, answer,
800.
see, either you do this way or this way, the answer has to be the same. This is just mathematics, mein everything is interlinked, isn't it? So whatever process you do, the result has to be same. It is just a cross-checking method. Whatever Aliva you mentioned, it's just a cross-checking method. So now you get your y value, 10 by 0.05. Answer कितना आ रहा है? Hmm? 10 by 0.05. What is the value?
200.
So 200. Now you replace here, na? 200. You'll get the value of m.
Yes, ma'am.
That can be also done. So now what is this value? YC
Ma'am,
plus I plus B.
800.
800. Yes, that's correct. And y dash?
600.
600. So now, what is the difference? Delta y?
200.
200. अलीवा, अभी हम लोग जो y निकाले, कितना आया था?
200.
Same 200 ना? Can you see? This, it cannot be different. So either you follow this method or you follow this method. It will work.
Yes, ma'am.
So delta y is done. What is delta x value? 20. Because earlier one you are assuming 0. So delta x is 20. Done. Foreign trade multiplier by following this method 6.66. और trade balance यहाँ पे कितना आ रहा है? What is the m value? Minus 20. So now what kind of conclusion can you give? Now this result, how to interpret this result? Suppose you get all this answer. Minus 20, what does that mean? What kind of economy you have right now? Trade with a trade balance of minus 20.
It is deficit.
It is a deficit trade, isn't it? That means it is a current account deficit. The imports value is far, far more than that of export value. Agar ye plus 20 hota, right? Suppose your multiplier value would have been more. Yes or no? Definitely it would have been more. So that is how you can interpret multiplier value यहाँ पे 6.66 क्यों हुआ? Because of these three factors, C, I, G. The trade deficit, even if it was minus 20, that is why the multiplier value was low. It could have been high, provided this would have been positive. Agar plus 20 hota, so multiplier impact would have been still more high, no? So that is how one can interpret that what kind of economy you have based upon your results. This is why it is very, whatever result, whatever calculation you do, it is essentially required to give a meaning to your results. Because khali calculate karke yahan pe bas baith jana is not solving. What would I mean? I don't understand. I am a layman. तो तुमको मुझे समझाना पड़ेगा कि इसका मतलब क्या है. You have to relate this value with your economy. Then it makes sense. Everybody in the class, is it understood? So the implication of a 4-sector economy on trade, sorry, on income. All of you have done it? Solve the problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, those are present in the class, but not on screen. Is it clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's easy method hai ya nahi? Calculation is the easiest once you understand this. Then, but interpretation usko, because we are giving a meaning to our numbers, that is why interpretation is required. Interpretation ho jane se, is it not making sense to our reality? From that you can very well make out, because this is what is a kind of integration between the concepts with the reality. And to further go into expansion of rigor, because this data is important. Here we are giving a hypothetical data, but if you go through the CMI website, जहाँ पे macroeconomic data, जहाँ पे Reuters Refinitiv का, they have a database, secondary database. हर country का तुमको consumption value मिल जाएगा, investment value मिल जाएगा, G value मिल जाएगा, S value मिल जाएगा, M value मिल जाएगा. You can calculate and come to a results, na? So that is how you further mitigate the gap between the concept and the realities. Because this is what is macroeconomics for managers. कल को जाकर तुमको अगर कंपनी का trade impact, you will see that उस कंपनी का कितना, what is the impact of the trade element. Trade is not only about goods, trade is also about services on the company's income. Can you not find it out? And you can give up, because all of you are going to do only the valuation in terms of report writing. Ultimately, na, last May, whatever job you may crack, you need to have a very good understanding about presentation of the work in a report. And you cannot only go on bombarding with numbers without giving it a meaning. So those numbers has to be very well, what does that mean? How is it working for the company? Because I need to read the numbers. I need to understand the numbers. खाली मैं calculate करके रख दूंगी, उसका कुछ मतलब ही नहीं है. Okay? Is it clear? So similarly, you can work on another problem. This is a homework for you. Note down and we'll proceed next. So we are done with the 4-sector model. And the background is really important. So for checking of background of any economy, what I would suggest, keep yourself updated with the current news. Day 1 se tum log ko bol gaya, means I have told you to follow Livement, ET, at least a standard newspaper to keep yourself, because economics is all about what is going on in an economy. Economics is not only about limiting yourself to the PPT, limiting yourself to the books. That is not economics. Yes, Aliva.
Yes, ma'am. The first question, we have found that there is a deficit trade balance, but in the impact we saw that the value is 6.66. Means it is multiplying the effect. Then how
Yes.
it is happening? Means it is having
See,
negative value.
multiplying the effect. Why it is multiplying the effect? It is a positive multiplier, but that doesn't mean that it is significant. It could have increased by 10 times. It could have increased by 20 times if this factor would have been positive.
Okay.
Isn't it? अगर मेरा import value यहाँ पे M जो है, instead of 0.5, it would have been, right, say, suppose 20 or 0.75 अगर होता, then we would have seen what is the difference. So all depends upon my export data. Instead of 20, it would have been suppose 200. So it all depends upon the data only. Our results, I'm not saying this is a good number or bad number, but relatively it is not that good. Why? Because this is negative. This is what is the linkages. If this would have been positive, then this value would have been rather more. Multiplier, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Income 6 times से increase हो रहा है. The impact on income is 6 times only. That is what is meaning, no? But that doesn't mean that income, it could have an impact by 10 times. It could have been an impact of 20 times. It could have an impact of 100 times. So that is what this value is suggesting us. It is positive. Foreign trade multiplier is positive. Why it is positive? Because you cannot negate the others. इसका भी neutralizing impact आएगा कि नहीं मेरा component के ऊपर?
Yes.
So यहाँ ये वाला अगर negative हुआ, ये वाला तो positive है ना? So overall, when I calculate the overall, will it not neutralize?
Yes.
So when I am computing the FTM, I am taking the whole. I am not taking only this one. So that is how you have to see that to what extent it is creating a multiplier impact. And based upon your result only, you have to make your interpretation. Again, I am telling, I am not gone into a real-time data. Real-time data hoga to result, you will get what is that. And real-time data, you can get it from the various sources. like CMI, your trade reports, वहां से real time data आ जाएगा, and based upon that one. But this is a process. I just showed you this is how you can compute, and on the basis of the result which you derived, you can make your interpretation. And you can align that whatever background of the economy which was provided to you, it can be well established. Clear? The rest of the people, those who are on their videos, not sorry, on the virtual room, but absence from the class. How many? Absence from class? Samajit? समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, ma'am.
Samajit suddenly switched off his camera. Shantanu? शांतनु?
थोड़ा फीवर था पूरा समझ में नहीं है मैम कैन आई गेट द वीडियो सो आई कैन पिक अप
Video again, I have not recorded. Video I have not recorded. Okay, let me record in some other class and then I will share. Today I just Siddhant?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Practical purposes, it can be solved.
Yes, ma'am. Watching the video again, I can solve it. Like, I have some idea, but
Which video you are watching?
no, sir. No, ma'am. Like your class record.
My class, but this session का तो video ही नहीं है.
Ma'am, you said you will be recording it.
I didn't record. I told I didn't record today's session.
You will be recording in some other section, and
Okay, then you will see and then you will solve. आज तो फिर आज का क्लास कुछ समझ आज का क्लास कितने जन को समझ में आया तो फिर that is what this is what is a major limitation of online. The concentration level of students, it goes out. So be prepared with certain backgrounds for the economy. So whatever may be the economy, after calculation, you need to relate. Okay. These questions मतलब क्या? तो क्या जो क्वेश्चन क्लास में कर दिए वही क्वेश्चन आएगा? मतलब स्कूल के बच्चे को अभी ऐसा क्वेश्चन नहीं आता है. हाँ? I just give you a background. This type you can say with some bit of combinations and permutations. Of course, this type will be there. Okay. Difficult, कितने जन को difficult आ रहा है अभी तक economics? गाली दे रहे हो कितने जन मुझे? Raise up your hand, please. I believe in honest feedback. कितने जन गाली दे रहे हो? क्या मैडम कितना क्यों पढ़ा रही है? हम लोग को क्या ये होगा जाके? Hello? Raise up your hand. अरे?
मैम बहुत सीखने मिल रहा है गाली क्यों देंगे?
क्या मिला?
बहुत सारा चीज सीखने मिला है गाली क्यों देंगे मैम?
Seriously?
यस मैम.
That is what I am unable to check it out. कितना सीखने को मिला? What is the reception of the students? What is the reception? RI index, receptive index of students in ME class. एक क्वेश्चनर डेवलप करके करते हैं. So you should start delving into some specificity. Interviewers like specific things rather than only giving definition, certain crammed up materials. If you cite certain kind of association, no, 100% selection, guaranteed. Ha, Vik.
Ma'am, just a suggestion. If there is 15 minutes left, ma'am, so can we have the presentation right now? Because one or two of my friends won't be available for tomorrow. They just
Okay,
texted me.
okay, fine. Fine, we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
go on.
Yes, ma'am. Only one presentation. Let's.
Okay.
Arpan, will you share or Subhajit will share?
Arisa will do that.
Oh, sorry.
Group number 10.
Aritra,
Ma'am, we
ma'am,
have
this
14,
is
ma'am.
14. Last group.
14.
Aritra,
Group
share
number
some.
in your class, group number 9, 10, they are offline, na?
Yes, ma'am. 9 is for Bhaskar, I think.
9.
Yes.
9 and 10. So we will play the video. Tomorrow we'll go ahead with it. Group number 14, just the members' roll number. Members' roll
Yes,
number.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Aditya, can you please move the video there? Then it will be in the screen only. Can you please start the video?
Just stop a bit during the roll number.
Yes, ma'am. When the roll number comes, just pause the video.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Here on the screen.
Okay, you can proceed. Please proceed. That's it. Just out 2:45.
Hello everyone. Today we have gathered here to discuss on a very sensitive topic in India, and that is inflation in fuel prices. But before we dive into our topic, it is very necessary for all of us to know what is the price mechanism of fuel prices in India. We need to know how the retail price of petrol and diesel is calculated. Fuel prices are decided by oil marketing companies. Since they aren't government regulated anymore, it's the responsibility of the oil companies to adjust prices according to global rates. However, the state and central governments take a hefty sum as taxes on the retail price of petrol and diesel, which you and I pay at the petrol pumps. Some state-run companies such as Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited fix retail prices of petrol and diesel in the country. Now coming to inflation in such fuel prices. What can be the four main factors that lead to inflation in the fuel prices? Well, number one, crude oil, freight, and processing charges to the dealer. Number two, excise duty charged by the government. Number three, dealer commission to the gas station. And finally, number four, value-added tax levied by the state government. As of June 1, 2021, the base price of petrol in Delhi stood at Rs 36.04 per litre. The central government charges 35.35% as excise duty, followed by 23% charged by Delhi state government. So finally, now we are paying about 60% as the tax on the retail price of 1 litre of petrol.
Now it is important to understand the relationship between the surge in the oil prices and with the